Okay, so good morning again. I'm going to cover primarily the budget forms in this presentation just because of timing, but if you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask. And if you have questions regarding other portions of the INBRE pilot application, I am happy to answer those too at the end. And if we don't have time, then we can always schedule another presentation to cover the questions you guys have. So the application that Delaware INBRE utilizes for their for the pilot project program uses the NIH application budget forms. There we go. And that is a standard form. We transfer all of the information that you guys give us on your application into the standard forms that NIH requests because they have the final approval on our pilot projects. So if you complete your budgets on these forms, there's less room for error when I'm trying to get everything together to send to NIH. So I put the link in this presentation. The forms were revised in March 2020, but you do want to make sure when you're selecting these forms, I'll show you on the form where the revision dates are and when the expiration dates show, just so that we're sure we have the most up-to-date forms. They are called the PHS 398 forms. When you're talking with anybody in your Office of Sponsored Programs, or if you're at UD within your colleges, your sponsored program coordinators, they will refer to them as PHS 398 forms. Okay, when you go to that link, this is the site that you will see, or the information that you will see on that site, and you'll see that there's a lot of form pages. Our application does not utilize all of them. I'm going to focus primarily on the budget forms, but you can see there are face pages and other forms depending on what type of application you're submitting. If you're submitting an R01 or an R21 or other NIH grant, you will become familiar with all of these form pages in either you or with your sponsored program coordinator's assistance. You will see all of these form pages because this is what NIH requires. So the forms that I'm going to focus on today are, like I said, budget related. It's Form Page 4, Form Page 5, and at the bottom of Form Page 5, there's also a budget justification. So you will hear from people that work in sponsored programs that they need your budget justification, and a lot of times they will also ask for the checklist. So I'm going to cover that one as well. And those are links in this slide that go directly to those form pages, but they are, again, all listed on that first page that I showed you a link to. Okay, so this is Form Page 4, and it truly is just the detailed budget. You would put who the program director or principal investigator is, and in this instant for the INBRE applications, the principal investigator is Dr. Stephen Stanhope, and then you would do a dash and put your name because you will be the primary principal investigator for this particular project. So we always acknowledge him as the parent award PI, and then you would put yourself as the PI of your project. The budget period that you will put on this is a one-year form. So for this particular application round that we're doing, it would be November 1st, 2021 until April 30th, 2022. And I know you're going to tell me that's only 6 months. The reason that we do that is the parent award runs May 1st to April 30th each year. These applications will be starting midway through our third year of funding. So the first budget period will only be 6 months. Then what happens is with our type of grant, NIH makes us close out each year. So we will close out after April 30th, and you will get a new budget period starting May 1 that will run a full year to April 30th of 23. And then on May 1, 23 through October 30, 23, you will have a third budget period. So I know that when Rob went over, if those of you that were in our information calls for this application, he said it is a 2-year award, but there are 3 budget periods. That's the reason for that. If you forget or make a mistake, it's not a huge deal. I will help you correct them. If you want to have your sponsored program person reach out to me directly, I am happy to meet with them to explain it. It is a little bit tricky, and I apologize for that. I wish it was simpler. The next portion of the application goes through any personnel that you would like to support. The one thing I do want to note, I know we have people that apply from this from all of our partner institutions. Many of our investigators have grad students on their award. If you have a grad student that is a student of UD, please work with the home department of that student or reach out to me if you're not sure who to reach out to. I will help you find the proper person. UD has some funny requirements. We have to support the student at a minimum percentage level, and we also have to support a minimum percentage of their tuition. And for those of you that are familiar with that, anything that is submitted after, I believe it's July 1st of this year, those percentages are increasing. We just received notification of that a couple of weeks ago. So I just want to put the bug in your ear. We love when you have grad students on your proposals, but they can be kind of tricky, so I'm happy to help walk anybody through that needs it. Then further down, it's all the same things that you would put in any other application, any consultant costs, equipment costs, supplies, travel. Hopefully in this next round, we'll be able to travel again. Any inpatient or outpatient care costs, and that also would include any costs that you have for human subjects. If you plan to do human subjects research, we do not have any alterations and renovations in our pilot projects, but if you think that is something that you would benefit from, again, reach out to me. I'm happy to go through that. And then any other expenses you may have. If you don't know where some of your expenses may fall in these categories, please give me a call or shoot me an email. I am more than happy to answer questions ahead of time rather than have you guys stressing out over forms, because what you need to be focused on is the science, and what I and your sponsored programs people are here to help with are all these crazy forms. At the bottom of this, the very last line next to page number, it does show the PHS 398, a revision of March 2020, and this form is approved through February 28th of 23. Sorry, it's very small. Sometimes I will tell you that they put new forms out before the expiration date or the approved through date. We just want to make sure you're using the right form. So if you ever see something that's conflicting, just give me a shout or your sponsored programs person, and we will be happy to help with that. Okay, form page 5. This is where you will put, so I'm sorry, on form page 4, you will just put your first year's your first 6 months budget. You will complete a second form page 4 for the second budget and a third for the third budget, because we're doing 6 months, 12 months, 6 months. On form page 5 is where all the budgets come together. So it does say that you can have up to 5 of them. We will have 3. So you'll be filling out, all of these are from the form page 4. You just transpose the numbers over to this and add up the first 3 columns and total it in the box. Below that is where the justification is. Again, either myself or your sponsored programs people will help you if you have not written a justification before. There are a lot of specific there's a lot of specific language based on your institution that they like to see in the justification, and that UD has grown accustomed to reading. So if you have any questions, we are happy to help with that. And again, just double check the dates down at the bottom of the form to make sure you have the most recent form. Budget justification. I kind of already went over that, so I'm going to skip it. The checklist is the other document that we do require. Where this comes into play and is very important is down here in this lower half of the form where it has rate applied. That is your institution's negotiated F&A rate. So that will change. It is a formula in the NIH form. If you pull it right from the website, if you plug in your institution's percentage point, it automatically calculates what your indirect costs are. Now, the other thing that I want to make mention is the $60,000 per year, which then gets broken down into $30,000 for the first budget period, $60,000 for the second, and $30,000 for the third budget period for this application process. That is direct costs. So your indirect costs will be calculated on top of that. So I know that sometimes causes confusion for investigators, so I just want to make that clear. And when you're working with your sponsored program coordinators or your sponsored program offices, if they have questions about that, they are welcome to contact me so that I can explain it to them as well. Those are pretty much the forms that we fill out for budgets. So I guess at this point, Erin, we can open it up to any questions that people may have.